Hello, everyone. I'm Katie Cornfield. Joining me today from How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies is director and writer Pat Boonnitipat. Pat, welcome and thank you for joining us today on Conversations with the Artists.
Thank you so much, Katie, for having me. I'm really excited.
So before we dive into the conversation about the film, the residents who live at MPTF are all retired motion picture and television industry veterans. And one of the things they like to hear about is what was a moment or an experience that you had that made you want to pursue a career as a filmmaker?
Um, Actually, it was when I was in like my 20s. I had a chance to watch this film from Japan. It's from Naomi Kawase. She's a Japanese film director, and the film is called The Morning Forest. And when I watched but it happened to be, it had some like accident that the subtitle that should be coming in English, it came in Spanish. So I couldn't really understand a word that it was saying on the picture because this character was speaking in Japanese and the subtitle was in Spanish. But I sat through the whole movie, and when the movie ended, I was in tear, and it completely blew my mind how the power of cinema could deliver things beyond the language, and that's always been my inspiration to that makes me want to pursue. I wanted to make a film that give that kind of impact to the audience.
So I understand that this was your first feature film. What would you say? And because you've directed some television series in the past, and all of which have been wonderfully done. What was the difference for you as a creative individual tackling this project as your first feature?
Actually, I always wanted to be a film director. I always watch film. I have, but I find it really, it's like totally different things. I mean, with TV series, it tend to be more like struct for me. I think it's more like structural based, but with a feature film, it's more like a detail based. I found out that the more I try to be very be very specific with the details of each character or each situation that's happening, the better the audience could relate it to the movie. So it's very interesting to me. Yeah.
And you're also the co-writer on this film. You co-wrote the screenplay. So it's often said that the best writers write what they know. Were there elements of this film with the family dynamic that were inspired by your own relationships in your own family? And can you share insight about some of that process and how you created such dynamic characters?
Sure. Yeah, I always write my own script too, or at least I participated in that, and also in this project. And it was very specific that I need to write this character based on the people that I know from my life, because in that way I could direct them better. So I tend to so the writing process is pretty much like I would sit with my writer and we would gossip about our own family. Like, oh, your aunt is like this. Oh, my aunt is like that. And my cousin is like this, and your cousin is like that. And we try to pick up all these details from our life, both of our lives, and arrange it into the film in the way that it unfolds naturally.
And so to go along with that, the casting is wonderful in this film. And the woman that you cast, the actress you cast to play the role of Ma, the grandma, this was her first acting role ever. Is that right? How did you find her?
We were very lucky because she wasn't a professional actor. She wasn't a professional actress. So in that sense, she did few TV series, but we lucky to find her because my assistant director, he worked in a music video which she starred in from like 5 years ago, And so we would call her in, and she was brilliant. We did this one scene, which a lot of other people who came to cast struggled to do. It was the scene when the grandson she was in the wheelchair, and the grandson just fight with her about why didn't he receive the house, and then suddenly he decided to left her there. So she did that scene in one take, and when I watched the tape, I was really fascinated by her gift.
And then speaking of the actor who plays the grandson, he's a famous pop star in Thailand. And
Mm-hmm.
so was he someone that you always had in mind for this, or how did you manage to recruit his talent as well? Because he does a phenomenal job, and that was something that I researched on my end, and I learned, oh, he's a famous singer in Thailand, and now he's doing this role. What was your thinking there, and did you envision him doing that when you approached him?
Actually, we don't at all, especially while we were writing the script. We try not to have anyone in mind, just try to develop the character. But when we decide to call him in, we auditioned several people, and he was he was very charming. He was very charming in the way that his character is. I think it's very important because he's the kind of person who when he did something, he likes to tease people. He likes to like play jokes, and when he does that, we don't actually like judge him that, oh, you're a bad person, because he seems very charming and very almost like a kid. So I think it's very important for this movie to that the audience wouldn't judge the protagonist whether he was approaching the grandma with evil intention or not, and he fits perfectly.
Now, the setting is beautiful in Thailand. The location in this film is almost a character in and of itself. How long did you shoot for, and how were the people, the community, were they receptive to, your creative endeavors shooting in their neighborhoods?
Well, that's really good question. They were very accepting, but it was very new to them because not a lot of filmmakers shoot there in that neighborhood. And they would be staring out the window. They would gather outside the street to see, oh, they're shooting the movie, and the buzz about the movie is being screen, it's all over the neighborhood. And for example, like the shop next to the congee shop in the movie, or even the beef noodle, they all put up a sign that, oh, the film here, it films here, and the actors sit here in this table, so that afterward people were do like the follow up. They were just, yeah, and it really
How
somehow
many
become very lively. The community became very lively after the movie was screened.
how many days did you shoot? How long was the shoot?
The shoot was in 25 days of shooting in total.
Wow. And one of there's so many wonderful messages in the movie, but if you had to pick, the one message that you hope audiences would take away from your film, what would that be?
Hmm. For almost all period of my life, I've been living in this house, which is the very house that we all have been living in. I mean, all the member of my family, there were like 20 of us. We all lived in this house from when I was really small. But then people moved out because of the constraint, because of the conflict, and because they have to grow apart. So there were only three of us now, only me, my mother, and my grandmother living in this house. And I just moved back when I was trying to make this film. So, but I was living here and witnessing all these transitions, and I would see my grandmother being in the center of it all. She would she really missed everybody, and she she was just thinking about the time that we all spent together, and witnessing all of these things that happened makes me wanna like capture the essence of this feeling and put it into this film, I think.
That's beautifully stated. I'm going to bring in Jennifer Clymer from MPTF Studios, and she's going to speak a little bit about MPTF and any questions that the residents may have submitted or that she has from her end that they would also like to hear. Jennifer?
Hello, Pat.
Hi, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for sharing this film with us. The residents were so excited to see it in mid-January. So one of the questions that we ask everybody is, what is your favorite movie and what is your favorite TV show?
Okay. My favorite movie, I would have to say it's Tropical Malady by Apichatpong Virasithakul. He's a Thai film director. And my favorite TV series, wow, I have to say I love Breaking Bad. I
I
love it.
saw recently the film, the house that show was filmed at. Katie saw this as well. It just sold for like $4 million.
Really?
Really?
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
It's like what you were saying about your locations, that they put signs
Yes.
up, this was filmed here, and suddenly that property becomes a very, very hot commodity.
It was very unique in a way too.
So, a little bit about MPTF. We are a charity that's over 100 years old. We serve the motion picture industry, the television industry, and our client base is everybody that you are familiar with from your crew. So it doesn't matter if they were managing the actors or if they were craft service or if they were hooking up the electric so that the lights would go on or putting the lights on the stands, grips, gaffers, everybody can turn to MPTF for help. In the last several years, we've had a lot of devastation for the entertainment industry, whether it was because of the work stoppage through COVID or the work stoppage from the strikes. And now we have the wildfires that have decimated entire communities here in Southern California. And MPTF is a place not only for the crown jewel in terms of the physical presence of the retirement campus, which is where your interview is being seen, but we have social workers who are helping people navigate the emotional tumult that is happening through all of this. They're also helping people with financial aid and grants, and getting them connected to different services that will be able to help them get through these devastating times. So you are chatting with us at another critical moment for MPTF, and having your film be part of the fabric that MPTF is right now gives us a little bit of light and hope and joy, and we so appreciate you being with us.
Thank you so much. It was very beautiful.
I would add, Pat, that, MBTF, its motto is that, yeah, we take care of the industry members in times of need, and that's happening right now. And your film stresses the importance of relationships and family and taking care of each other throughout everybody's journey. So it's a beautiful film to show at this particular moment. So we're so appreciative of you taking the time to speak to the residents and, of course, screening the film tomorrow night for them at their home in their theater at MPTF. So thank you for that. And then also just to tag along with what Jennifer was saying about the array of services that MPTF provides. So it could be financial assistance. It could also be somebody who didn't make it out with all their passports and their important documents, and they need help recovering those documents. So it is everyone so it doesn't matter if you're an assistant or an executive, producer, crew member, MPTF is here for everybody who works in the entertainment business.
Can I ask a couple more quick resident questions?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Residents always love to know the hard cold facts of your production. So if you could give us your timeline from development to shooting to post-production, and a lot of residents, very technically driven, would love to know what you shot on.
Okay. I did 2 years of screenwriting. Oh, okay. When I read the first genesis of the script, after that, when I started to enroll in this project, we write for 2 years straight. I didn't do anything else. And then we have a 6 month of pre-production and production included. Pre-production we do for 3.5 months, and we shoot for around 3 months. But we shoot on the total of shooting day of 25 shooting days. And post-production, we edited for around like 3 months. And then we did the color grading and sound mixing and the scoring. The whole process of post-production is around 6 months. And then yeah, the total time of around 3 years of the project.
Wow.
And we shot on what's it called? It's Airy. It's Alexa 35. It's Alexa 35 with our cinematographer. I've been working with this cinematographer. She is very, very, very good, and she introduced this camera to me. But actually, I know very little about camera right now. Yeah.
That's all right. I mean, the images that she caught were beautiful.
And almost all of our crew is also my friend. We grew up together. We study film together. We studied together. We started from like wedding videos and video presentation. We would do everything together, and I'm really happy that my first feature film could like include all of the members that are almost like my own family.
Kapkun kak.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. That was unexpected.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pat, for joining us. I know the residents are delighted to have you share insight into your creative process. Moses, my security detail, is the animal you heard barking in the background. So he's also excited to be a part of this evening. We wish you all the best, and congratulations on being shortlisted for Best International Feature.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you everybody for having me.
Swadika.